So I don't normally talk in a negative manner on this channel, but I want to talk about one of my heroes who seems to have fallen from grace. This is Game On. Hi everybody, welcome to Game On. My name is Justin. This is a show all about tabletop gaming, from RPGs to board games and everything in between. This will definitely qualify as one of those in-between videos. I want to take you back to 2009. I was in college. I was a freshman, and it was a Saturday morning where we didn't have a cross-country race. So I basically had an easy, mellow Saturday morning. And YouTube suggested a video to me. It was called McKids, and then it said AVGN or Angry Nintendo Nerd. I don't remember exactly what the name of it was back then. But I watched it. And it was this guy who wasn't really on the camera very much. He was on camera during the opening segment where he drew the M. And then it was mostly a voiceover of him playing video games. I don't recall if Machinima was going on back then, or if it was as prolific as it was when it eventually became. But I watched this guy and I was like, he can record game footage and he's talking about these games that I remember. I watched a couple of other videos. I basically quickly exhausted his entire library that morning. This guy named James Rolfe, he created I don't remember if he was going by Angry Video Game Nerd back then or just Angry Nintendo Nerd. But I really liked his stuff. I subscribed to him and I was like, I can't wait for him to put new stuff out, because as a younger kid when those games came out, Nintendo and Super Nintendo, let's see, I was born in 90, so I couldn't have been older than maybe 5 when a lot of these games were coming out. I played them up until Nintendo 64 came out when my parents bought that for me. But it felt good to hear somebody else talk about these games that I remember, and also talk about kind of the things that I couldn't articulate back then. And back in the day, when I was younger, I was happy that I just had anything to play. I didn't realize that there were, quote, shitty games. And I followed James a lot. I really liked him. I really liked his Angry Video Game Nerd series, and eventually, later on, I found out that he also did other videos such as Monster Madness, which I still go back and watch, just like I go back and watch some of the old AVGN stuff. I'll still go and watch Monster Madness, especially if I want to do a quick recap on something. If there's a horror movie, I won't necessarily go straight to Google. I'll go to Cinnemassacre and say, hey, did James do a review on this? Because I liked what he had to say. It was different from just a cut and dry review. It was like, this is how I felt about it when I watched it. I wanted other people to see it too. That sort of thing. It felt more cozy. Felt like a cottage review than it did like a review that you would see on maybe at that time the reviews in the newspaper or something like that. I consumed all of that too, and I still want to say that other than that weird plagiarism issue a couple years ago, I still watch Monster Madness. I watch some of the higher later content that's just come out not too long ago, but it's not the same. It feels a little bit more manufactured, sterile, cut and dry. But then there's AVGN. And I think James Rolfe he needs to retire the AVGN. The movie, it went onto Indiegogo And I think it raised like 325,000 plus or minus 1,000-ish, maybe a little bit more money. And the movie is good if you like AVGN. I think it was an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour too long. It shouldn't have had a 2-hour runtime, but James always considered himself a filmmaker. His YouTube videos aren't videos, they're film. And look at my channel. I have a tiny channel. I feel like the last person to talk about what it's like or what you should do with a channel. I got less than 2,000 subs. I'm basically, right now, it probably feels like bottom feeder content because I'm talking about somebody who's more famous than me. But when he did that movie, I feel like it just sucked him dry. And he spent a lot of time away from the AVGN on YouTube and Cinnemassacre, which you could have gone and seen. I don't know if it was on Game Trailers back then or Screw Attack, but it was also on another channel, and YouTube was just kind of like the secondary place where he put his videos. And he spent all this time talking about how much he was a film buff, a film student, how he loved to create films, and he creates a feature-length film. And it doesn't do so well. I know what it's like to put all of your time and effort into something and not get much out of it. It's nowhere near as fancy as James's stuff, but I made that video, which you can see up here, which I made about like the history of tabletop gaming in video games. And I put so much effort into that, and it's got like 200 views. So imagine being somebody who sees themselves as a great creator and a great filmmaker, and a lot of people saw him as that, only to get like, what, a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes? I don't know what it is on IMDb. It's probably like 5 point something, maybe 5, between 5 and 6. I'd wager. I just feel like, again, it sucked the life out of him. Like, that should have been the retirement of the nerd. Fast forward, we get a couple more videos after that, and where I personally think the nerd basically died, other than the movie, was the Toxic Crusaders video. It's not that I don't like Lloyd Kaufman. He seems funny. I've never met him in person. I've only seen like interviews with him. He seems like, I don't know, a funny enough guy, I guess, but that video just didn't it didn't seem right. Any of these guest star videos, the one with shoot, what's his face, with the Affleck guy who just died recently, for the life of me I can't remember his name, we just said, that seemed kind of bleh. The Doom one, that was pretty good, because the Doom voice was John Romero, from what I understand. It kind of sounded like a digitized version of him, and I saw him credited for being in that video. But like the Bugs Bunny birthday blowout, or the Batman series with Mike, like those were the classic to me, with a guest star. But that Lloyd Kaufman Toxic Crusader, ever since then, it's been just, it hasn't been the same. It hasn't been what I would call like the golden era, kind of like with The Simpsons. And I totally understand that once he got himself into a family, he got married and he had kids, he needed help. And that's why Screenwave Media came in. Yeah, Screenwave. And this is where a lot of people talk about the slobs, like Kieran, Justin, and Tony, I think is his name. Honestly, I don't really care. Like, the rental reviews I would watch every once in a while, I would listen to in a podcast style while I was doing work. I know that there's some hate for them. Out of the three, Kieran seemed like the most charismatic of the bunch, but that's not saying much because you're looking at the charisma of potatoes. But anyway, they had to come in, and James and apparently Mike hired them to kind of help with the content creation and the channel kind of thing, the analytics side of thing, the production sides of things. And that's obviously where the 540 joke came from. For those of you who don't know, it's like, oh, I gotta be done playing video games with Mike at 5:40 because I gotta watch my kids. And ever since then, just the quality of the videos are not good because James feels forced. I know he put out a video where it says that he writes the scripts. I don't think he does. It doesn't feel like a script that he would write. It feels forced. It feels like for him, obviously, to get his money, he has to do it. It's almost as if somebody's off camera with a shotgun, like, you better do this. Gosh. And it's just not the same. It feels like James isn't putting what he wants to into this character. And I've never had to play a character. I'm just myself online. Same with Matt. I'm the quirky kind of goofball who doesn't take things seriously. And Matt's the guy that, a lot of people call him the professor. Because he will talk a lot about things, especially the things that he likes. And he's very thorough in his explanations. But we're not characters, and James is playing a character here. And you can only imagine how tiring playing the same character could be. I'm sure there are plenty of other professional actors who are just like, I want to be done. I don't know if Daniel Craig felt that way at the end of 007, his James Bond years, but I'm sure there's plenty who are just like, please just let me be done. I mean, gosh, I don't know if Mark Hamill wanted to play Luke Skywalker anymore, and that's why he was killed off in the movie, spoiler alert. But or Harrison Ford, he did not want to be the character of Han Solo anymore, so he was like, kill me off quick. I'll take my paycheck and kill me off. And I feel like there was a point where James had to say, it's time for the AVGN to retire or die. Maybe take some pills that'll mellow him out. Watching the new videos, it takes you out of the moment when the first 30 seconds to a minute and 30 seconds is a ExpressVPN commercial. I don't want the nerd to tell me, oh my gosh, live in this virtual private network, and then go talking about how he wants to take a poop on a game cartridge. That's not the character. But I understand that he has to do that because Screenwave sells sponsorships. I don't have a direct video of Kieran saying this, but I found a link which I'll put up here and in the description. It was a live stream of Kieran saying something along the lines of like, Screenwave sold too much sponsorships, and we had to take that 200th episode for AVGN with the LGN and split it into 3. So with each of those episodes has a different freaking sponsor. It's Factor, it's Raycon, and it's ExpressVPN. The continuity doesn't even feel right because it wasn't one company that decided that it wanted to sponsor the whole thing. Maybe it wasn't Raycon, or maybe it wasn't Factor. Maybe it was, I don't know, for some reason it was like a podcast that had sponsored him for a couple of videos. Either way, current AVGN is not fun. It's not fun to watch. That horse one, I tried to watch it. Dear Lord. I'm not going to make fun of him for his hair. I think the way somebody looks is not a fair fight to pick onto somebody. So I won't ever laugh at him for his hair. He's getting old. If anything, all it means is that I'm getting old too, because I remember him being young, and I remember being young, and now in my mid-30s, I feel kind of old. I know I'm not, but it feels like I'm growing just like he is, and we're both getting old. He's not the main reason why I got into YouTube, but he's definitely one of the reasons why I started my original channel a while ago. I thought to myself, hey, if this guy can do it in his basement where he pretends to poop on games he doesn't like, I can make a video about, at the time my channel is about religion, I can do it too. And then later on, as I watched more Machinima and I watched more of Drifter, I said, hey, I can do videos like Drifter too, where I started recording video gameplay and everything, which eventually culminated in 2019 until this channel. Here it is. But I think what we need to see is a retirement of the angry video game nerd. I would love to see Board James come back. As a matter of fact, if he was to ever write another movie, which he probably never will, but if he was, Board James. We need a Board James movie. Look, a little bit of a mess here. Look, this is a whole channel about board games, and RPGs. And this guy was doing it before it was fancy, before it was in vogue. I guess I have to thank him for that, because now I don't mind talking about Frosthaven. I'm not afraid to talk about D&D and, Castles of Mad King Ludwig, because he set the standard. Well, not the standard, but he at least broke the ice. And I have to thank him for that. But as for the AVGN, he needs to go away. It's boring, it doesn't feel the same, and James definitely doesn't want to play it anymore. At least that's what it feels like. I understand he's got to pay the bills. I'd rather see more short-form content, or do what Mark Rober does and do the, one video a month kind of thing, where he makes a lot of money. Cinnemassacre right now doesn't look like it's performing as well as it probably has in the past, according to Social Blade. But maybe if he took the time to just do one video and make it really, really awesome, he can pull like a Mark Rober and make lots of money that way. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I want to know what you guys have to say down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you like board games and RPGs and that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not trying to be terribly negative or in drama, but I just had to say what I had to say. So anyway, thanks again very much for watching. My name is Justin, and as always, game on.